Hello everybody. How are we going this morning? Or evening or afternoon? That thing always gets me. There's a few different changes on the stream now. So I've got follower and chat and a few other things that you can see on the screen. Yeah, I put the guitar sounds and a few things on here. So when there's a follow or a subscribe and that kind of thing, it plays the different sounds. Stel Power and Francis Gui Baby, thanks for following. Yeah, there's a few things that we've got on today. So I'm going to be joined by special guest Simon from Enjin Audio. He will be having a chat with me about some surprises we've got coming up. He'll be joining us in about half an hour, and until then, I'm just going to be playing some of the new patch and showing a little bit around what I've been working on. Rob's been doing an amazing job doing all the lore, so you're all going to have some really great stories and things to read going forward. Thanks, Tomax. Thanks for following. All right, I think we're gonna get started. Hello, everyone. Hey, Degenics. Hey, Pip. Hey, Blue Elvis. Matinga. Barnacles. It's good to see you all in here. Oh, you're at work, Blue Elvis. Nice. Hopefully, I'm not going to get you in trouble with your boss. I'll do this next time on a Sunday my time, which will be Saturday for most of you, and I'll do it a little bit earlier. 6 a.m. my time should be 2 hours earlier than this one starting. All right, we might switch to the latest game view. Now, this isn't the standard view that you're used to seeing. This is my development view. It's going to be similar to last time, where you got to see some sort of behind the scenes stuff. I haven't really hidden too much this time, so this is actually all going to be the first glimpse that you catch of the latest changes. So let's just switch across now. Thanks for the follow, Lide. And it's on the other monitor. There we go. Don't go and read the patch notes too closely. All right, I'm just going to start it up. And I think last time in the stream I gave you a quick glimpse of running down the actual street, the main street. So I'll give you a little bit more of a tour now, so you can just sort of see what you're in for when you're wandering around Talmouth. I'm just going to hit play. Now, in this initial version, you're starting out on the street. You don't really have anywhere else to live at the moment. So you're kind of without a house or without a reason. So you're just living out of this trunk, and you've got your weapons rack here. So standard, previously you changed your items in the menu before you play. I can actually run around now and change whenever I like. I can change my costumes, or I can change which pet I'm using, similar to before. And then also my weapon rack allows me to choose which weapon I'm going to go into the dungeon with, and then of course my inventory. So let's take a brief look around. Is there any junk in the trunk? CZB, you could store some in yours if you like. All right, let's head over this way down the street, and you'll see I'm not going to stop for too many people along here, but I'm just going to take you more sort of towards the start of the area. Eventually, though, this is still pre-alpha, so eventually you'll be introduced to the island by starting, not to the island, to Talmouth by starting down here. And then you can head up. And the first of major changes is that the dungeons are now all interactive within the world. So this dungeon here is now going to be the practice dungeon, or the old explore dungeon. And that's where you can sort of just practice and hone your skills, and you'll be able to potentially earn some adventure stones. Main section though, we're going to head back this way and head into the main area of town. Let's wander up this road, past some of the houses, and back to the town center. And the tavern, where most of your efforts are going to probably happen for the first part of the first patch, because the innkeeper has most of the quests. And I'm just going to interact with him now, and I can see some test quests that I've got here. Give you a little bit of a preview about how this is going to work. So I can view some of the existing quests that are available. And in fact, I can see that I can complete this quest. And I've got the Stampede tokens in my wallet. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm going to give a use for the Stampede tokens. This is just simply my test, because I've got a lot of Stampede tokens to test with. So I'm going to trade my Stampede token in for 5 Adventure Stones. And I'm going to say complete the quest. And that is going to send a request to my wallet, which I am now confirming. Typing in my password of password1. Just kidding. Okay, got it right. It's just saying please wait. So the Enjin wallet's going off and sending the request and confirming. That's now done, and the game's waiting for it to process on the blockchain. And momentarily, it's just processed. It just sent a success message for the Overseer, my test one. And there we go. I get my Adventure Stones for the whole spawn. These are a little bit different in that they're in shells, like bubbles. They're now been sent to my account. I'm just going to catch up with chat. The tiny pony looks funny, CZB. Oh, you mean because he's tiny? I did shrink the pets a little bit to make them a little more cute. Your 60 Stampede tokens are worth 300 Adventure Stones. Easy, yeah. Yeah, Lefebvre, that's Lefebvre, that's not going to actually be the case. This is just in test. Too late. 100 Stampede tokens has been sold on the Enjin marketplace. Yeah. Like I said, the Stampede tokens are for the wishing well at the moment. Use them up because I don't have any plans for them going forward, and the idea is to give back to the people who played in the Stampede event early on, to be able to claim some items back and get something for them. Nice smooth. Well, that's good. Oh, good. Glad you guys like it. Game looks great, but isn't the character running a bit too fast? I don't know. He's running. I can make him walk if you want, and you can go even slower through the area. I think that might get a bit tedious. So pretty much what you saw there was the entire process with the Enjin wallet, which is pretty much the hallmark of being able to do that there. So it transferred the items that I had in my Enjin wallet straight into the game. The game took the items from you and gave you back some, in this case, Adventure Stones. But in other quest examples, that could be more unique items or items you haven't seen before. A lot of what I have done now is you will only be able to get some items from quests. Other items will be dropping in the dungeons, but the dynamics of that has changed a little bit in that you won't just be, there won't be just transcendence and mythicals and things like that dropping in the dungeon all the time. You will mostly have to earn those through quests, and that's through going into the dungeons and doing battle and then finding items to complete the quests, completing quest chains, doing encounters with bosses and other things, and using those items to then claim the quests. MW Mahalison, thanks for following. Cool. All right, so I'm just going to show a little bit more around town. I'm going to head up this way past, can't see who that was. Thanks Oscar Crow for following. I'm going to head up this way and cross the little bridge where there's a few more quest givers. You can see a merchant and also an enchanter. And up this way to the lighthouse. One Step Gaming, thanks for the follow. There's not too much up there at the moment. You can sort of check out the sites and cruise around, and at the moment, in the first patch, you'll mostly be interacting with probably the innkeeper, but in saying that, you should definitely check out the other people because I will probably release quests quite frequently for them. There's also the alchemist sitting here. I'll head out to the ocean side where the apothecary is, And you can see in the distance there's the first dungeon door. Thanks for the follow, Crypto Autobot. I'm just going to head down this way now. Take my pet with me. And you can see this is the Echoing Cavern. So the Echoing Cavern consists of a number of different various randomly generated dungeons. One of the other changes will now be there is no adventure mode, there's no expert mode. It's been replaced by this dungeon and 2 others. And different items will drop in different dungeons. You'll have to figure out which ones drop in which in order to complete your quests. Any Easter eggs to be hidden around town? For the first release, possibly. Yes, going forward. There will always be things, so you need to be looking around town, discovering things, seeing what's new. There might be things that you can interact with, and you might get little rewards or bonuses and things like that for discovering them. Lensky, how to get trans? Any clue? Playing since Stampede event. If you're playing the game at the moment, you'll be getting it randomly by opening chests. That's changing in this patch, so you have a goal to go for. You will be able to see when there's a transcendent that's offered on a quest, and you'll just have to figure out the items that you need to complete that. And sometimes that will require you completing several quests in order to get all the items that are available for the final quest, which is to get you the transcendent. Is there a map in the game? There is in the dungeons, Francis Gui baby. Not currently on this in the town. I will look at adding that probably over the time, but I probably won't do that for the first release. TC Stalker asks, is the founders token the same as a MFT? The story behind the MFTs is it was originally made by the Forest Knight dev. He made the suggestion for all the early adopters. I missed out on the early adopters boat because I was working full time, so I joined as the first dev on Spark program, on Enjin's Spark program. So it's not really part of that. The MFT is, I guess, if other games want to support holding the token and giving you something, then they can. I don't think it's classified as a MFT, it's more of a founder's token. In saying that, there is more stuff coming for the founders tokens. I will reveal more soon. It's not just about drops, there will be drops as well. There will also be benefits, things like early access that I've mentioned before. Can't wait, how to follow. Cool. Are you going to implement the mask? Is it the Mask of Majora or something? I'm not sure about that one. Can the quest be completed more than once? Yes, it depends on the quest. So quests in the world where there's a total supply of items is quite difficult to set up, and you can't have your normal quest progression. Basically because an item that might have been given as a reward, say it only has 100 supply, it can only be given or completed 100 times. And that can't be for everyone. It'll only be for the first 100 that reach it. So I can't do a standard quest progression where you're doing this easy quest first and it sort of gets more difficult. Pretty much just have to present all the quests to you and you decide what you want to do. Over time, more quests will be added. Some will be removed and disabled. Just depends. It'll be very, very fluid. I mentioned enchanting, says Pip. Have you made an enchanting mechanic or are they quest potions only? So the way that enchanting is going to work at the moment is there is an enchanter, a quest giver. So they will do the enchanting for you and you give them the items. So in a way, you're kind of doing the enchanting, you just don't have to do the building the skill and doing that kind of thing. So it's a little bit different. I'm going to run with that for the moment and see how it goes. When will the patch be ready? Says Crypto. I'm working as hard as I can on it. I'm hoping before the end of this month, but possibly early next month if there's any issues. I'm just going to head down this way, give you a bit further of a tour. past the woodsmith and through the forest. A little tiny forest. And here we find a second dungeon. The Macabre Crypt. And I will enter one of the dungeons soon. I'm just going to go and finish the tour by running up this way. Skip the fork in the road. And the third dungeon, which is Haunted Catacombs, is here. I'll head back here, and in the main game you can spin the view. For now I'm allowing you to still spin the view here, so you can see what's around here, and it looks like there's a bit of a morbid place. You may see your names pop up here in the future if you die in the dungeons at the graveyard. Billy Saurus, I see you've joined us. Will everyone be seeing the same quests available, or you'll be offered random quests? No, everyone will be seeing the same ones. All quests are global. The mark of... Will you implement the Mask of Mythical? I'll have to investigate what that is. I'm not sure. Difficult in the dungeons are the same. Yeah, so the difficulty is going to be changing. Like I mentioned before, there's no adventure and no expert dungeons. Instead, they're replaced by these 3 dungeons. They do have difficulty associated with them, because some of the items in them are also potentially more difficult to get. I'll leave that up to you all to figure out. I like to have some mystery in this stuff and some discovery. If you know all the details, I think it removes some of that mystery. All right, thanks, Billy. So that mask was an MV drop. Okay. Yeah, I can look into it. Maybe I can't immediately think of anything that I can do with that, but I'll look into it. Looks like the old Fable Xbox game here. When is the patch planned to go live? The Fever, I was hoping by the end of this month, but possibly early next month if I can't make that. Running down this road just leads me back to the town. So I'm just going to run across and go to the first dungeon. The way you currently do dungeon runs is going to change. This might scare some of you a little bit. It might excite some of you. Instead, when you go into a dungeon, of being able to choose when you want to exit at the end, you know, you get to the end of the first level and there's unlimited levels. You get to choose whether you want to go back up to the surface or keep going deeper. There's no longer an exit back to the surface. And when you start the dungeon, it tells you how many levels there are. So you have to reach the end in order to take your items out. So I'm just going to jump in now. Big smile, thanks for the follow. All right, so you can see graveyards, level 1 of 4. So I got to make it through 4 levels here. A number of changes you'll notice as well is if you take your pet into the dungeon now, he'll actually start smashing items for you, crates and things. You can also do that as well. You can both work on it together. The reason for that is because loot drops now in all items. Anything that's destroyable, or there might be interactives within the world that you can interact with and get items. So you can see loot just popped out of here. Previously, whenever you opened a chest, you got this kind of loot. So there was a possibility of common loot coming out of a chest. That's changed as well. Whenever you open a chest now, you've got guaranteed blockchain loot. There will be uncommon items available, which will mostly be dropping. But there will be, you'll definitely get blockchain loot when you open a chest. There are less chests in the levels now, but all the items that you can smash in here essentially replace that, what the chests were. So previously there was chests, you'd open them up, you'd get common items. Now when you smash items, it's essentially the same thing. You're opening a chest when you smash an item. And then if I do go and open this chest, there we go, I got a Stampede token. They're not actually going to drop. Again, I said these are all test assets that I use on this test server. And then I can actually, also to just clarify, it's not just common loot in the floor loot, it's, you know, potentially the uncommon and rare items and possibly epic as well in this floor loot. So we'll see if while we play we do end up getting anything popping out. I'll run up here. The pet will probably start clearing down the lower section. Oh, he's decided to go up the top. Eggshells. Break through here. So this actually gives you a bit of a reason now to go through, because if you run through the entire level and don't break anything, you're missing out. You're essentially not opening chests anymore. The sword looks slow for looting. Yeah, it's a two-handed sword. It's a little bit slower than the one-handed. Again, you'll have to choose your weapons that you prefer in your method. There's also other things that are in the dungeon now that will help you in breaking loot. Not only your pet, but a few other things. We'll see if we find one on this run. All right, cool. Will there be a transcendent katana? Love rare katana. Yes, there should be. Got a few. I want to make sure that each of the weapon types are available in each of the tiers, in each of the rarities. And I don't know if you noticed then, but I just killed a monster and I got a woodworking handbook. Sometimes rare items and other things will drop out of monsters, so you have a reason now to kill all those monsters that you've been running away from. So make sure you do that. Just gonna run through here. A few of these guys. I did choose the slowest sword. Godslayer two-handed is slow, but it does good damage. Guaranteed, but I also get health out of it too. You'll also find health when you destroy crates and things. Just gonna run for the exit. So the other thing about this is you're not trying to get through the levels to get deeper as quickly as possible, because the rarity no longer increases the deeper you go. That's quite a bit of a change. The pony is a demon of doom. I've been caught out a few times where I hear noises and all kinds of things going on, wondering, and I switch back and I'm like, oh, my pet is destroying items for me. And then he happened to find a rare, and so I heard the guitar riff and he found it for me. Steamit Goldminer says, epic loot on the ground. What about the highest blockchain tier loot in chests? There is still a lower chance now of finding it in chests, because the main goal is to get it through quests. But opening a chest now gives you a guaranteed blockchain item, whereas before you could have just gotten a bunch of common items. So I wanted to make chests special again, as they were in the Stampede event. Will those books have a use in the update, says Spooky. There are other books coming, not the common ones at the moment. There are uses for common items. I'll just see if we can get one to find one around. The first usable common item, it will be in this patch. See if I can get it to pop out, otherwise I'll just drop it. No. No. And sword. Normally when I play the full screen version of the game, it's a lot easier to see what you're all saying. So let me just see if I can fix that. There we go. To guarantee loot sounds expensive. How will your funding model look? Will adventure stones increase in price? No, they won't. You'll still only be limited to taking 4 items out. And I've tweaked the transfer prices a little bit on my items. They're incredibly or extremely low at the moment. Some of the new items will be better balanced in order to allow that. And if you're completing quests, you're all essentially supporting me. Can you take in more than one pet? Martinga, no, not at the moment. Although I've previously played with several pets and it's quite funny. Game can't give everyone epic stuff. Epics have been out of the loot pool for like 2 months. Yes, they will be returning with quests. Does the new dungeon always cost 1 adventure stone even if you exit with no loot? No, it's the same mechanic as now. So if you exit with no loot, you decide not to take anything with you, then it won't use up the adventure stone. So you'll need Enjin and ETH for fees to complete quests. Yes, you will. There you go, I just found a rare item. Oh, sorry, an uncommon Stampede token. I can't remember if I enabled rare items in this test. Can we have a rat pet? Request it in the Telegram channel and I will add it to my to-do list. I like chess being rare, special, tired of game giving everyone epic stuff. Yeah, so you pretty much have to work a bit harder now for the epic stuff. It gives a bit more of a goal. Actually, working hard is probably not a good term for it. Previously, a lot of people were frustrated with running the dungeons and spending many hundreds of hours and only getting a couple of epic items and maybe a legendary. Whereas other people seem to have more luck and got mythicals and other things. This kind of evens the playing field a little bit more. It does mean that if you're playing casually, you might not be able to obtain some of those higher tier items. There is, of course, always the Enjin marketplace that you can go on to buy items if others are selling them. It will definitely be interesting to see how people will adjust to whether they want to sell items now or whether they want to keep them for themselves in order to complete the quests. So pretty much every item eventually will be usable either through effects. Some of them will have effects, some of them will be needed for quests, some of them will be both. Just catching up on chat. Are there plans for iOS Android version in the future? Eric Sean, possibly. I'm not sure about the iOS space at the moment. I think they're still pretty anti-blockchain. You also need to pass a review process. Because I have a requirement on the Enjin wallet, it's possible that I'll fail the iOS review process. Because any in-app purchases or anything like that that they require need to be through them. And they take a 30% cut. So if you don't do that, they don't allow you. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. Android, possibly. A lot of the graphics rendering that I use at the moment, though, is not really working well on mobile. Mobile is a little too underpowered in order to be able to render what you see here. In saying that, I will revisit that in the future. Will the keys to the trunks be in this patch? They will. I just need to finish off actually opening the trunks. So if I have time, I'll be adding that in. Otherwise, it might be delayed until the patch there afterwards. Can we see some new items or existing items with a use? Yes, let's go to the next level. Alright, so I'm just going to find that common item that I was talking about. And so I'm just viewing myself in the other window so I can drop something from the heavens. And it is, where is it? This one. I'm just going to throw a few of them in. Alright. Change that back to its fast again. So this is the first of a usable common item. It is an explosive ball. Light the fuse and toss it in the general direction of an enemy or stubborn impassable area. Keep your distance or your adventuring days will be over. Just going to pick up these. So right now, because I've got the direct input stuff, I haven't made this super easy to use, so you have to face in the direction that you're going to throw it. So I'm facing towards these. Oh, he's going to destroy them all for me. I'll do this way, and then I can click to throw, and I throw the bomb, and it detonates. So that can help me destroy items or destroy rooms. It also will affect enemies. I'm going to throw another one there just as that guy comes through, and you see it damaged him. The damage levels aren't tweaked yet on it, and there will be different variations coming. What about Ruby Egg? Yeah, eventually. You'll see more. I'll reveal more as I release a patch. Is there a difference between legendary and mythical weapons? Yes. So right now the differences between the weapons are based on the damage, and that determines like how powerful they are. You plan to add different views in the future, like in car racing games? You can kind of change the view yourself. You know, you can zoom in and then you can run around like that. And you can kind of make it like a third-person view. Whether I support that fully or not, I'm not sure. The thing about doing top-down games, this is where the game development side of it comes into it, is that you generally, on the underside of most of these props, you don't draw the faces in order to save rendering speed. So if you go down too far and then look up, you won't see anything, and that's done for performance reasons. So top-down games generally don't allow you to change your view for that reason. All right, 8:32. I am going to give a call to Simon, our special guest. Just bear with me a moment. Get him on the line. You there, Simon? Oh, can't hear you. Why is it so low? 1 second. Can you hear me? Can't seem to hear you. Say something again? No. 1 second. Not sure why. You guys can't hear him, can you? I don't know if it's something because of the stream that it's got exclusive. Let me try a few things. Say something now, Simon.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. Did you guys hear
Beautiful.
that?
G'day, guys.
I'm just going to turn the volume back down again. I cranked it up too much. There we go. All right, sweet. Hey, Simon, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Great stream. I'm loving all of these new updates you're doing.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I definitely am looking forward for everyone to see and play the game once it's released. Everyone's saying hello to you in the chat.
G'day, guys. Thanks for supporting Forgotten Artifacts. It's really cool to see the community come together.
Cheers, Simon. I think we're gonna talk a little bit about an integration or a collaboration that we've got going with Simon and his company Rewardio. So maybe you want to give us a little bit of an introduction about Rewardio, Simon?
Yep. And just so you know, I'm getting like 2 of my own voice and 2 of yours. So it's like fully chaos. So if you're hearing me like stop and start,
you might have to turn off. Do you have the stream running still? You might have to close Twitch.
Okay.
Is that any better now?
Check.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's so much better. Awesome, man. You're a pro. Cool. So yeah, Rewardio is really it's basically an Enjin adoption tool for the retail space. In fact, for any space that can benefit from rewarding their customers, their users, their audience. You know, it could be used by retail stores, it could be used by restaurants, it could be used by Twitch streamers, and of course all of those rewards will be blockchain assets backed with Enjin. So really my intention since I actually first joined the community a couple of years ago, was always to become an entrepreneur that adopted this technology, because I saw a massive opportunity in making digital assets tangibly more valuable. And this is kind of like, I've just had like a really awesome run and been able to get to know the team, and this is like what it's all kind of always been leading up to for me. So yeah, that's the kind of idea behind it. But what's really exciting me about it is, especially when me and you started talking, Cliff,
Yep.
about how we can integrate it into Forgotten Artifacts and other games, and how we can actually make Rewardio like directly promote Enjin adopters like yourself, not only through the platform that we're creating, which is right now called Rewardio Bounty, which is basically just a demo of our platform to show adopters what they can do with it, but also because we want to create this in a modular way. So if, like, say, some adopter, like a mum and pup store or McDonald's, they create their own platform, we want them to be able to have quests that go through Forgotten Artifacts as well, essentially. So yeah, I'd like to kind of ask you, like, when you first kind of heard about what we were doing, I guess, what was your impression of it? How did you feel about it? How would you describe it?
So I think for me, I'm not sure if some of you know, but the quest system that Rewardio have got in place allows games such as, or apps such as Forgotten Artifacts to integrate with those and then complete them on sort of a higher level. So you can see that you've got a quest to do that involves running into Forgotten Artifacts and doing something, maybe getting an item, coming out, and then going into another game and doing the same thing. And to me, that sort of overarching storyline or ability to do that feature is really cool, because just me as a single developer can't really do that across multiple games. It does take a lot of collaboration work and other things. So yeah, it takes out a lot of the work and makes it like a really cool experience for all of you players.
Awesome. Yeah, that's it's so cool that this is just like a happy coincidence that this Rewardio platform is just perfect for this in the end. And I guess it just means that it was always going to happen. Someone was always going to do it. It's just that me and the development team at Cryptomat were the first people to get in the right position to be able to launch something like this. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a bit of an honor, to be honest. Now, obviously, you're one of my favorite developers, right up there with Steve Wozniak, no joke. I just want to thank you for everything you do for the community and the wider movement, really. And I guess if it's all right with you, I'd like to ask a couple questions just to see if we can all get to know you a little better.
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to. I always kind of wondered, like, how did you first hear about Enjin? What made you join the movement? Like, because you've really like delved in deep. Like, you've sacrificed a lot. You've put your livelihood on the line. Like, what made you do that?
I think for me, so for many years, for about 20 years or so, I've been developing apps and games and other things in both a commercial sense, working for that, and then when I go home from work, I end up doing that in my spare time too. So when I was working in the games industry, we weren't allowed to work on games in our spare time because the game company then owned that. So I would work on utilities and other things. And then the same or similar kind of thing happened when I worked for commercial. I'd then work on games in my spare time.
Yeah.
So I've always been I've always been super interested in that stuff. And then about a little over a year ago now, I joined my friend's company, Referium, and that was a blockchain space rewarding platform.
Rewards app.
Yeah.
Sorry, Referium, we're here now.
So I joined them, and I was working for them for a while, and then circumstances changed, and I found myself looking at what I was going to do next. And probably about 6 months prior to that, when I was still working for them, I discovered Enjin, and I'd sort of been loosely tracking what was going on. I did see the early adopters program at the time. Unfortunately, I was still employed, and I couldn't dedicate the time that I wanted to towards it, but I definitely saw the potential to have blockchain loot that was, completely ownable by players and be able to transfer it around, because I was also happened to be playing Fortnite and a few other games.
Not anymore, I'm guessing.
And I haven't for a while, no. But I was playing those, and obviously I was buying skins and a few other things, and came to the realization that once I had them on my account, that was it. I couldn't, for example, send them to my friend when I wanted to, when I was bored of them, or whatever I wanted. I didn't have true ownership over it. So that's what Enjin provided. And I'd always been looking at that going forward. And I think right around the time when my circumstances changed, I saw that Enjin, you announced the Spark program, and I was like, oh, it's fate, time to join. So I talked to my wife, my fiance at the time, about it, and we sort of discussed going forward whether that was possible for me to do. We decided I might as well give it a shot because no better opportunity, and then here I am.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the risk.
No worries.
I'm interested. How many hours do you work a week? Because you do a ridiculous amount of stuff.
More than I probably should. I usually start around 7 or something in the morning, and go sometimes as late as 10 or 11 at night.
Wow.
7 days.
That's insane.
Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes I'll take some time off, and I have a few family events and that sort of thing on that I still need to do.
Of course.
But because it's myself and I'm trying to get this off the ground, and I love doing it. I do spend quite a lot of time.
Just so you know, it's not uncommon within our team as well. I personally spend up to 16, 18 hours some days.
Yeah, it's not supposed to, not really too healthy. I don't recommend it for everyone.
Definitely, but it's worth it. So hopefully it's just for, a temporary amount of time, and then we make some magic. So
for sure.
So just out of interest, like your perfect dream scenario for Forgotten Artifacts, like in a few years' time, like if everything just goes like amazingly well, what would be like your fantasy result for this project?
Look, I think I want to be working on this for several years, and the I guess the feature of having a living world, so things are always changing. There's always new events. Different things are popping up in town, new quests and all that kind of thing. About basically a living world that everyone gets to experience all the time, and it's constantly evolving, would be ideal. To do some of that going forward, I will need to get a few more people because I'm already starting to reach the limits of what I can do quickly.
You're reaching breaking point.
Yeah, it's more like there's so much stuff I want to add and do that I will need to add more people. But I'll see how that's going to go. I think with the release of quests, that will definitely tell me how successful we can be with this, and whether I can start hiring people or not.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to do anything I can at Rewardio, and Enjin's already doing everything they can to help as well.
Thank you.
I think Rewardio is going to be an incredible tool to bring new users into this space, and we're trying to design it to make it just very, very seamless for new users to come in, start getting assets that are backed with Enjin, and start playing games like Forgotten Artifacts. I think we had a really good conversation a couple of days ago about the multiverse integrations that are possible, where we can actually have our items and our characters running through Forgotten Artifacts, and then they can jump out with Forgotten Artifacts loot. They can use that loot in our platform. Was there any specific kind of ideas that really appealed to you there?
I think the ability to be able to do some of the quests across different games, be able to claim those items and that kind of thing is just a really cool idea. Obviously as a dev and with my game, I want people in my game as much as possible. So I'd prefer you to hang around and keep playing. But in saying that, like, if I was to think about it from a player's perspective, that to me is like a really awesome thing, because you get to see other games and get to experience different things all the time, and it keeps it interesting for you. And you get rewarded for doing so.
Exactly. And at Rewardio, we're trying to build a really interesting overarching storyline, where these characters that are moving through these worlds actually, they are masters of the multiverse, thanks to Enjin, thanks to a group of underground engineers, essentially. And we're trying to make it as like scientifically, in line with the theoretical physics behind the multiverse in real life as possible. So I think that's going to be like a cool story to tell. I would love to kind of jump into Forgotten Artifacts and there be some kind of knowledge of the multiverse from characters in there, like where are all these new people coming from, this kind of thing. Would that ever be something you consider?
Yes, definitely. So I'd like to have, when I was talking about the events before, sort of tying some of the lore in and having different things going on at the time. It might be reflected from what's happening in the outside world at the time, or in the multiverse, or whatever it happens to be. So yes, definitely.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me. That's awesome. I don't really have anything else to say or ask. I guess I would like to say, you know, we have like an incredible community, and we really appreciate all of you guys out there. Thank you for being a part of it and engaging so much. If you do want to continue to support, please tell your friends to go play Forgotten Artifacts and Rewardio, and use Rewardio, post it on social, write articles, make videos, stream, get creative, have fun, just do everything you can, because I think we need to come together. You know, I think the movement's going to take off no matter what, but if we can come together, we can really blow the roof off this thing faster. So thanks, everyone.
Definitely. Thank you. I think, Simon, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions before you go.
Sure.
And just... and I know you've already discussed a few things about the overarching quest and that kind of thing. But I do know that Rewardio is only available in a couple of countries at the moment. Which countries are those?
So right now the restrictions are based on the Cryptomat exchange being a government regulated exchange. So the Cryptomat developers are the ones that are actually doing the development work on Rewardio. And basically once like the next platform we're launching, we're shooting for a launch this week actually, but don't hold me to that. The next platform we're launching is actually going to be like a standalone platform, so you can jump in there. You don't need to sign up to the Cryptomat exchange to do it. You can, obviously, it's a great exchange, but essentially you can just jump in there, and we want every single person in every single country to be able to access it very easily, essentially, and I don't see any restrictions needed at this point.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I know you just recently opened up in Australia, so that gives me the opportunity to participate as well.
Yeah. On Cryptomat, I just I purchased some Enjin coin using my credit card. It's literally the easiest cryptocurrency purchasing experience that I've ever had in my life, and you know that's not me just advertising it. Like I've used all of the Australian exchanges, and nothing really comes close. So
that's awesome.
It's awesome.
That's very cool. I was going to say, tell us an example of, say, your ideal multiverse quest. You've given an example before, so you can just run through that one or something.
Yeah, so really my my ultimate multiverse quest, you know, would entail the necessity of using one item that you get from one game into you know, to achieve something in another game, and tying that all together with lore that makes sense. You know what I mean? So say for example, you have this really intense bad guy that's there in Age of Rust, and you cannot he's like a god in Age of Rust, and you cannot kill him unless you get the God Slayer out of Forgotten Artifacts, you know, because it has some kind of special metal in it, like you can, that you know, counteracts the god's you know, electromagnetic forces or this kind of thing. Like I think that's really going to be the key to all of this, like tying it all together in a really interesting way, making it make sense scientifically, but also like, you know, giving the items of these different games, like, you know, value in other games. I think that's like a super high priority for me, as you know, just because I love that idea. So yeah, I'm really I feel honored to be able to be in this position where I can start working with everyone, essentially trying to bring you guys together without you guys having to, you know, deviate from the hard work that you're already doing by building the games. And then, you know, trying to focus on collaboration as well. Like that way I can worry about that, and I can just try to make this the most fluid experience possible.
That's awesome. By the way, disclaimer, that doesn't mean that the God Slayer is going to be used for such a quest, because Simon, you may just have affected the market price. Sorry,
I don't think about my words all the
time. But yeah, so that's, I mean, that's a perfect example of something, and I think that's going to be really fun to set up and to have players to be able to track them and see what they do, and we can then like announce, oh, you know, the first player to do this, to complete that multiverse quest was this one, and they'll go down in history.
Yeah.
So I think that's really awesome.
And that's the other thing that I love about this. Like, you know, I get to steal ideas like that from you. Thank you.
Damn it! I should have copyrighted it. No, that's fine. Take it, and make it happen. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much inspiration in this space, and we're all sharing, and we all have one overarching goal. And yeah, I think that makes us so strong as a development community. So
definitely. Awesome. Well, thanks for having the chat, Simon. And
thanks for having me.
no worries. And we'll chat again soon. Outside this, for everyone else who may have just joined, I just finished chatting with Simon. We will be announcing something coming up soon, which involves the Rewardio and Forgotten Artifacts, combining our forces together. So you'll hear more about that soon. All right. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, guys. See you
Cheers.
later.
Bye. All right. So I think that'll give you a little. If someone got any questions, I missed all the chat through that. Sorry. I'll scroll back quickly and have a quick look. But otherwise, if I missed your question, just ask it again. The dream would be that FA is being so successful that the game itself opens up Enjin ecosystem to the world. Yeah, that would be incredible. I would love that, to be able to get more people exposed to Enjin. There's a couple of hurdles I think we have to overcome first, but I think we're well on our way. What was that one I just saw? Enjin. Hey Cliff, thinking about the new changes, are you not afraid by limiting the dungeon level you make it too easy for geared players and too difficult for newbie? How will you balance that? So the hard, or there's the 3 different dungeons. One of them is more difficult than the others, and one of them is easier than the others. So it's kind of like one of them will be almost like expert, going down to level 4 like it previously was, which is where most people went anyway. The difficulty changes I've made as well. So enemies right now, when you see them hit, so I got hit there for 80 on the other attack, and the fireball attack was 50. I used to scale that in all the dungeons that you play at the moment. I won't be scaling that anymore. Instead, there will be just more enemies. So you'll have to deal with more coming at you, which makes it pretty hectic when you're trying to play. But I'm still working on balancing some of that, and I should have that done before the patch is released. TC Stalker asks, damn, I haven't been keeping up. What's with this reward thing? So that was just rewardio.io. Oh, sorry, reward.io. I'll paste the link if I can do that. So you can go and check it out early. So I just put the link in chat. And basically we're announcing a collaboration coming up soon. They have their own quest system, which allows you to do quests in Forgotten Artifacts. This is separate to the quest system that I've created, but will allow what's called multiverse quests. So you can potentially create them across multiple games, or complete them across multiple games. Floor is a little larger. One hit boss with the Godslayer. Damn. Yeah. The bosses and that sort of thing are not balanced just yet for this new mode. Although in saying that, in expert mode, you could still one-hit the bosses with the Godslayer. Any transcendent item is very powerful in the current monsters. There are, what you haven't experienced yet, encounters with bosses and other larger characters coming. So you will need some higher tier weapons, probably legendary and onwards, in order to take those. The Gen X asks, will you add armors in this patch? Probably not this one, no, but they're coming. I need to make sure that's correctly balanced too. How many quests can be in the first patch? Still undecided. At the very least 10, but probably more. White paper. Oh, hey Andy. Any chance we'll see some races in the future? It worked really well for Path of Exile. I was keeping it more arcadey and just relying on outfits, so you can kind of choose your class yourself by equipping your items and your weapons. Right now, there's just the bows and swords and axes. There will be more weapons coming in the future, allowing you to essentially equip other setups and classes and that kind of thing. Oh, you mean like competitive races? Oh, Yes, I could definitely do something like that. Especially with the quest system coming in. I think you're all going to find it's quite competitive. Especially if there is a quest that can only be completed 10 times in the entire world. Alright, I'm just going to throw a preview into the view. Let me just locate where my character is. Let's see. This one's an interesting one. It doesn't have a use at the moment. Just going to throw a couple of random selection of things that you might see in the new patch. And maybe one more. Where's the other one? Yeah, I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Oh no, that's not it. Yeah, that'll do. The Fever, will the quests always be for items that don't exist yet? You mean to get the items? Hypertrophy, the quests will use current items and new items. Yes. Some quests will be using both items. You'll need items from the new patch to complete them, along with old items. Some will just use some of the old items. I didn't want to make a case where someone who has been getting a lot of items in the current patch can go and complete all the quests instantly. I don't think that would be very fun for everyone. Still want to make it a little bit competitive. Or can someone already own everything needed to complete a quest the second it is released? Yeah, that's what I just addressed then, Mephiva. You could theoretically, if you had all the items to complete that quest already, then if you jump into the game and you find the vendor, the quest giver, who has that quest, then yes, you can complete it. Some of the quests will be unlimited. Some of them will be limited by the items that are available. Some of them will appear and disappear depending on what's available in the game wallet. So for example, let's say there's 10 items in the world and they're all used, or they're used for a quest, and they're currently all out in the world, and the quest can't give those items as a reward, then that quest will be temporarily disabled. But there might be another quest that asks for those items for a different purpose, and once the game wallet has those items back, it will be able to re-enable that other quest in order to give them back out again. Yeah. CZB, like if I use an ice sword on an ice monster, I'm healing him, make me a secondary weapon on me so I can kill different monsters. I must have missed the first, but are we going to see like element monsters and weapons like fire, ice, which makes 1 damage or another, or even heal? I have thought about that, yes. I didn't want to go too far down like a stat-based route on it, but I think just having like item effects, like there might be a monster, like you said, who can only take fire damage, then you may need to use a fire weapon, such as a fire bow or something, one of the fire swords, in order to actually damage. Blue Elvis, what's that blue thing? That's one of the new items. It hasn't got a description or anything yet. It's coming soon. It's actually called Nova Amiga. The description there is wrong. But I can pick it up, and it will be available in a future patch. I'll probably do an event around it, and I'm just going to fire and destroy these barrels with it. You can see it's got some pretty sweet looking arrows to go along with it. It's also one of the new transcendent items, and there will be a few more coming, but they will be different weapons, and given away in a different way. Thanks, Pip. Looks sick, don't worry about it. Francis Gooey Baby, is that blue thing can be looted in the game? Not right. This is only available in the patch that's coming soon. This weapon is not available in the current patch. There's also some other items here. The description is a little bit long. Yeah, I can't see it. The name of it. Some of these items will become more apparent as to their uses once you see the patch and once you see the quests that are available. And there's probably a couple of other items that I can throw in here. Let's have a look at this one. Oh. Probably seen those. Alright, there we go. That's a selection of some of the new items that you'll be finding in the upcoming patch. Some of them will be available in the dungeon. Others will be available through quests. Just drag that around. Alright, so I can see everyone again. Blue Elvis, he means chests. Well, you can get items from crates and things now too if you're just joining us. You can get items from crates, from monsters, and other interactable objects within the dungeons. Chests are changing in that they will always guarantee drop a blockchain item. So that they're special. There will also be a limited number of them available in the dungeons on each floor, just to make it a little bit more special again. In saying that, currently how you open up a chest is essentially the same as breaking one of these crates or barrels. So it still potentially gives you a common item, and other times it may give you a rare or an uncommon item. I think actually the other major thing I guess is happening is the uncommon items are being added into the game now, so that should push out and give room into the table for the rares to be a little bit more valuable and more like what they should be. I know some of you believe that rares are not really that valuable. If you look at their total supply, I think you'll find they're a bit more valuable. Does the mob drop loot too? They do. There is a random chance for the monsters to drop loot, and that will be available in the upcoming patch. Hoping to get it out by the end of this month, otherwise it will be early next month. White paper, catchable pets hidden in the dungeons that you could evolve with some of those consumables will also be epic. Yeah, that sounds pretty epic actually. Might have to jot that one down. You know, channeling your inner Pokemaster. It does sound a little bit like Pokemon, doesn't it? Hopefully Twitch doesn't mute my channel now, just for mentioning it. What else we got going on? But with enchanting, we can level up weapons. Yeah, in a way, some of the we'll be essentially releasing some of the test quests for, I guess you could say, upgrading weapons, just to see how well it goes. If it can be essentially thought about as enchanting a weapon or upgrading a weapon. You don't need a skill to do it, you can just take it to an enchanter in order to complete the quest. but you will need the ingredients or the requirements for the chest to complete it. You can smell a QR code being dropped. Well, let's do that now then. Switch over and whoop. If you'd like a new weapon to use in the game, some of you will probably already have this. You can scan this QR code now. It will give you an uncommon scathing ruin, which if this is the first time you're playing the game and you haven't got any other items, will help you along because you will only be able to use common items until you find your first item, and this will give you just that. It also allows you to test out how Enjin works. So once you have your wallet and it's connected to the game, you can scan this and then you will be able to see the item in the game, which is read from your Enjin wallet. Still playing the game in the background. I'm just going to switch back now. Get the code while you can. If you missed it, the code is available further down on the Twitch stream page. Alright. Just going to wander around the dungeon here a bit more. How about a bird pet that gives you a view to areas in front? That'd be pretty cool, having like a little bird view similar to the mini-map, and you can see from their point of view as it flies forward, it scouts the map for you. Doing 3 shots. Any shots of the bow doing 3 shots. Yeah, it does the 3 shots at the moment in the game. So, for those that aren't aware, you can, when you're firing a bow, you've got your standard left click, which does a single arrow, and right click fires 3 arrows. That's your power shot. So on the other weapons, like swords and axes, the right click or the power shot, which uses energy down here, will damage up to 3 enemies at once within the vicinity. Whereas for the bows, it does the 3 arrows. So you can potentially hit up to 3 targets or 1 target with all 3 arrows. That's been in there since, I think, the first day I released. I know some of you saw some comment I said in chat yesterday about the 3 arrows being new or something, but that's not the case. Don't know if anyone saw that the damage with this bow, interesting number. Didn't realize that. Blue Elvis, I thought you said you were changing it from 1 to 3. No, the comment that was in chat about that was just describing how the item works. So if you left click, it's 1 arrow, and if you use your alternate fire, it's the 3 arrows. As you can see there. You can do that in the current version. Can you shoot without a target? Not yet, no. I haven't enabled that. You can, if you're holding down control, I can just click on the various targets. That could be a monster or something like that from afar, and I won't run over to it to shoot it. So like I can fire from here and I'll hit the wall, or I can, if I just left click, he'll run over to it nearby and then fire. Control and shift do slightly different things, but similar. Thanks, Monkeys. Thanks for dropping in. The Nova Amiga is what it's called, and it will be coming soon. I probably will be having an event around it. You regret selling some of your items, though? Yeah, it's difficult to tell how it's going to go. I have sort of suggested that you keep your items for the moment. I know some of you like to sell them to recoup. In saying that, I do like to have surprises coming forward too. So you should always have a think about things before you go ahead and make some of those decisions. Any founders token benefits with the new update? Yes, actually. I'm just going to jump back to the town. So I know I haven't done a founders token update in a little while, but I will explain the first of several to come. So this first one is going to cement the founder token holders who are holding the tokens at the moment into history. If you see over here on the statue, there's a book. It's a stone tablet, essentially. All of the founder token holders who have a Forgotten Artifacts account and are correctly linked will have their name engraved into that stone for everyone to see. So it's not active at the moment. I'll announce when that's happening so you can move all the founders tokens away into the various accounts and secure that. And then once that happens, the names will be recorded in history. And if you move them on from that point, it doesn't matter, the names will still be kept around. So it'll be like a mark in time. So anyone coming into the game then, as they wander past the statue here in the town center, it will pop up with a little suggestion and they'll be able to click on it and they can see all of your names in there. So I will announce when that's going to happen on social media, and we'll make sure that everyone's well aware of when the cutoff is going to be, so you can move them around and shift them around and ensure that you've got your account linked and your name set up in the game. And once that happens, we'll lock it off, and that will be one of the upcoming things for founder token holders. Oh good, I'm glad you like that all. Still have my Stampede tokens. Are they used for the wells still? Just MIT, yes. So use them up for the well at the moment. The well will give you some items back. So just to explain in full how the well works, it's a bit of a test of greed versus generosity. So the more you give, the more you'll get out of it. Of course, the more items you give, the more items you'll get, and you'll only be able to take a certain amount of those out of the dungeon with you. So you need to sort of let go that you're gonna not be able to take all the items out. You're gonna get lots of items, but the higher, like the more items you give, the higher quality the items will be too. So if you just throw in one, you might have a chance at something that's good. It's a low chance. You may also have a chance at just getting a health potion. The more you throw in, so you can throw up to 24 in at once, will give you a much better chance and give you higher odds at getting the legendary item, the Dahanoid, that's in there. You'll also get some of the trunks, and essentially you'll get lots of items. You'll have 12 items to choose from by throwing in as many as you can. I know some of you have been selling them and pushing them around. The original idea for this was to just give back to the people who are around in Stampede, the Stampede event, so that you could get some items from it, because I didn't have a use for the Stampede tokens going forward, and this is a way to kind of upgrade to get some more usable items. So make sure you throw them all in. Plus the event, like when you throw them in, the more you throw in, it actually looks more epic and looks better. DC stock, you're going to be on that stone. Good to see you. Good to see you, everyone on there. I'll get the news spread out in social links after this, and come up with a date for when I'm going to lock it off so that you can all see it. It will probably be for the patch after the next one, so that everyone gets a chance to run around. White paper, amazed at how far you've been able to bring this game in a short period of time as a solo dev. Props for sure. Town looks great. Thanks, Andy. Can my name be on the tavern, Caster? Possibly. I've got a few plans going forward for being able to either rent or own buildings, and you, because it will be a shared world, will be the only one in that building potentially. And some of the other buildings may not be so global. Josh MIT, cool, you have 20, so you might as well put them all in. Yes, yeah, definitely. The greed versus generosity thing is you could get 20 items out by throwing them in one at a time. It will also probably cost you more in fees and gas fees to send that, because you're doing one transaction at a time instead of all at once. And you also will get a low chance at getting the better quality stuff. So definitely recommend doing more. I know some people have tried to find the perfect number, but the idea is to be generous. Lubakti, when I got a founder's token in my wallet and that wallet is linked, I'm fine. Yes, that's correct. So just double check on the Forgotten Artifacts found account page. You should see your, I think I've got that on there. You should see your username, or I might have that in the patch coming. Just double check before I tell you to go and look. Yeah, no, it is live at the moment. So if you look on your account details page on Forgotten Artifacts /account, you will see the name that you've given yourself. That will be the name that is emblazed onto the stone in the middle of the town. And just double check that your wallet address is up the top, and that you've got your founder's token in the wallet. And then you're good to go. I'll have further explanation of that coming on further in time. Keep one will be a treasure token in the future. I can't make any guarantees for the Stampede token. It may make a reappearance in the game and come out again, so there'll be more given away, but I doubt it. I wanted to really just collect them all in and shelve them, essentially. Going to implement the new MV items. Is that the ones that were released from Enjin? Possibly. I've still got a few that I need to give out. Some of you have already looked at my wallet and discovered some items. I will be giving those away over time, as I add support for them to the game. You can already use a couple of them at the moment. Name the tavern Castor's Tavern. Yeah, maybe I could sell deeds for the houses that last for a couple of months, and you can have your name in lights around the town. How about a building for founders token holders to own jointly? I hadn't thought of that. That's an interesting idea. I might have to make a note of that. Maybe suggest that to me again in the Telegram channel, just so I don't forget. Going to implement the new multiverse. Oh yeah, so it's already done that one. Cool. I think that's pretty much it. What else was I going to show? Some behind the scenes dev work. Let's just do some of that now. I can move this screen over. 1 second. All right. Or I'll put it on the other screen. There we go. Hide those. All right, let's go and have a quick look around the town from the bird's eye view. You've seen it from close up now, wandering around. There's, as I've mentioned before in game dev, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and other things that you need to use to ensure that people only see what you want them to see, because if you make everything always visible, like the back of objects and that kind of thing, it does affect the performance. So I'm going to take a look around the town here from a view that you won't see while playing the game. You can sort of see like there's a mountain range at the back area, and then if I zoom up really far, there's actually nothing behind there, because that would be too expensive to render. In the actual game, the idea is being that this is part of a larger mass land. It's not an island like it kind of looks. So I can zoom down here. There's a few other areas that you can see. The starter area around here. Just sort of scanning. Ignore the lines, they're just showing the camera frustum, the camera view. You can see the starter dungeon, the practice dungeon down that way. This view is the editor view, so there's not the nice pretty effects on it, so it looks pretty flat, dull shaded. It does that for performance reasons, so you can ensure you don't bog down the editor. You go across the bridge here and up, you can see the lighthouse at the top of the hill. This is where I did some of the glamour shots from, posting the camera from down at this view. where you won't really be able to get the camera, but it was definitely using how you see it. Fishing on the dock, yes. I did discuss that at one point, that it would be possibly coming. There is the fisherman guy over there at the moment. Just to sort of a test, he's just got a bit of a placeholder fishing rod, as you can see. It hasn't actually got a texture on it. The other part of the town, which is hopefully not making any of you motion sick. Try and do this not too quick. There's this section here where they're busy working away on something. We're not quite sure what it is yet. That, and among that and other things, will evolve over time. So this is the kind of events and living world that you'll see around. What's one of the more underappreciated aspects that you're most proud of? That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I think probably some of the dungeon work. There goes a lot into the dungeon generation. It puts tiles and pieces together. So I'll show you what that looks like. I just have to stop the game here. I think a lot of people are unaware about how much work goes into creating an active game world like this. You know, I can see these pieces here and I can lift and move them around and organize them once I have the assets themselves. Things like the dungeons, if I go into some of these, you'll see that I've got this small room, and that's an entrance doorway. I think I showed this in the previous stream, but we'll cover it again. These are stitched together and connected. So for example, let's just do something really random here, and I'll drag this into the scene, and then I'll connect it with, I don't know, this item here. So what the random dungeon generator does is it then goes together and connects these doorways, perfectly lining them up and determining, is it going to add something out this side? Is it going to add something out this side? If it doesn't, it then turns on what looks like a wall here and blocks it off to make sure that you can't go out that way. And then it says, yeah, you're going to go out this way, and keeps going. So it'll generate a full map. So if I jump into the dungeon view, I can show you that view again. Do I plan on putting Easter eggs in the game? Yes, there are already some in there. What Josh means by Easter eggs, what I assume he means, is the standard software development Easter eggs, where there's little things that are not really documented, little hidden secrets and mysteries to find. That's already been in there quite a bit. If you were around, Josh, for the Halloween event, the pumpkins, you could click on them and flip them around and toss them up into the air and such. That's essentially an Easter egg. I'm just going to freeze that, see if I got it in time. So this is a random dungeon that was just generated. I'm just going to fly over to, the floor hasn't been moved yet. I'm just going to lower that a bit. And where's the start? Start is going to be here. So it's just planned out this dungeon. This room here is has just been stitched together. It's been, the layout has definitely been confirmed to say, yes, it's a good layout, it's complete, you can get from the start to the end. And so it's combined objects together. These were originally all those separate tiled rooms. And then you can sort of see, if I go top bird's eye view, it's kind of like the map view, I guess, just a little bit more colored. The various locations, these little icons and things are representative of objects in the game. These ones here are for doorways, these are for lights. So I've got pre-made lights set around that I can turn on and off like this, and then I can also move around and you can see it affects the lighting. A lot of that stuff is I've already pre-made in those tiles that I showed before. Shadow asks, does the new patch, or will a new patch be released today? No, it won't be. I'm still working on it at the moment. This is just a preview of what's coming, because I used to release patches about weekly, every week, but this is significant changes, so it's taking a little bit longer than previously. Are you doing all the 3D modeling, Ridgy Ridge? No. So I do buy a lot of my assets from an asset store. A lot of indie devs do that because there's just no way they can create all the assets. In saying that, I do tweak and change them myself. So, for example, the barrels have a destroyed state, which wasn't available with the barrel itself. So I ended up creating that, jumping into Blender and creating that. I also do a lot of the texture rework, sometimes, and the characters and that kind of thing. So the recent Flamin Jack outfit for Halloween, which I just drop in there. So I created him, put him together from different pieces that I had. So you can see just remove his head there, if that doesn't scare too many people. So I basically put his head on there, and then there's a pumpkin within this section, sort of showing you behind the scenes here of how he's assembled. There's a little pumpkin here for his neck, and then I've got another body and a cape that I added on, which I can't move. Oh, there we go. The cape, which is a physics cape. So if I unpause that, he's now standing there with his floating head, and you can see he's got a cape on. Just zoom back out of that. Do I aim for a particular dungeon size or completion time per floor? Yes. So I've noticed that some people can take a couple of hours to do a full run in like an adventure or an expert dungeon. I'm aiming to reduce that now because I want you all, running in and out and completing quests and grabbing your items and that kind of thing. So I will definitely be looking at reducing that significantly. In saying that, I still want to make it challenging, and there'll be some new things coming that will make it much more challenging going forward. Use MV Mike as a character in the game. Yeah, it depends. I have to find models that are similar that I can use. I don't like to put multiverse items in that look completely different. For example, if there's a multiverse item that looks like a potion and then I add it as a sword, that doesn't make sense to me. So I don't like to add them unless they are similar or fit the universe in some way. For example, it could be, if it's a character like Mike, if it's not a character that you can wander around with, maybe it could be something on a shelf somewhere that you can see. Most runs take me 1.5 to 2 hours, says Barnacles. Yeah, so I'll probably... do you run the expert channel? The expert dungeon, Barnacles? Or is that adventure mode? And which level do you get down to? Matinga, will the game get too powerful for laptops? No, the goal is not to be taking too much more than what it is now. While I add things in, my goal is to always ensure that it'll be able to run on any of the desktop platforms, especially that it currently does now. And obviously they're getting more powerful all the time, so usually around level 13 or 14, sometimes higher. Yeah, so those runs for you will be cut significantly down, and you won't be spending so much time in the dungeon just opening the chests that give you common items with a chance for the others. It'll be changing quite a lot. Degenics, yes. I will be keeping difficulty to the game, definitely. You'll obviously need to use your higher tier weapons. I want to make the focus on Transcendence push down a little bit. Like the whole goal at the moment is to just get a Transcendent out of the dungeon while all the other items are kind of dismissed. That won't really be the case going forward. Everything will be valuable. There might, for example, be dungeons that require a limit on the items you can use. So you won't be able to use your Transcendent to do something, for example. You might have to use your legendary item instead. Or maybe the particular quest or adventure or whatever it happens to be, or encounter, you will need a rare item, a rare weapon in order to complete. And that could also be events going forward too. So there might be an event that requires you to complete it by using a rare item, and the person who completes it in the best way will be the winner and might win something really special. Spelunky-esque mechanic. After a set amount of time, a gruesome monster appears, or some sort of plague sets in and encourages the players to delve deeper or escape, increasing risk and potentially spawning a special loot table. Yes, that's an interesting idea. I do want to show you guys something. Tell me how many 90 viewers we've got at the moment. Maybe we should do a giveaway first. So to kind of celebrate the new patch coming in and pets being usable, let's do a giveaway for a void goat. That is a transcendent pet. The pets will be more useful the higher rarity they are. So the rare pets that are available in the store at the moment will have a certain level of help that they can give you, whereas the transcendent pets will be more helpful and quicker. I haven't started the raffle yet. Let me just start it now so I can talk while it's going on. Bear with me while I hit start. Now this should work this time, and you should be able to use that raffle tag. Let's find it here. I'll do it for, let's say, 10 minutes. And that should give everyone enough time to enter. And let's start it now. All right, I've started the raffle now. And if you've already done raffle, you'll have to enter again. But if you haven't, go ahead now. You can see everyone's doing that at the moment. All right, so this raffle is for a chance to win a void goat, which is one of the transcendent pets. Currently, the only people that would have these would be founders, unless they have moved them to sold them on the stores or moved them around. See, the chat has lit up. Genix, I asked the question about pet 3 times. Yeah, sorry, it is difficult to catch up on chat, so bear with me. If I do miss it, just ask again. I'm not trying to avoid answering all the questions. As you know, in Telegram, I get to everyone and scroll through the previous nights to catch up. It's fine. I just thought you avoided because of the raffle. Oh no, not at all. Did I answer the question now? I'm sorry, I was scrolling up to look and it keeps scrolling past all the raffle things, so you'll have to ask again. Looking for you. I can't see it. The top of the chat is now got just raffles, so you'll have to ask again, unfortunately. I'm sorry. JC Stark 17, thanks for the follow. Oh good, I did answer it. Thanks. Awesome. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so with the pets and the rarity, they get more useful. Is based on, yes, it is based on the tier. So it's based on the rarity as to their function. So similar to the weapons and other items, where the higher the rarity, the more damage they do. If you're liking what you're seeing, I'll be doing these regularly, either every week or every 2 weeks. So make sure you hit that follow button, and you'll be able to get notified whenever I go live. I'll also be announcing it on the social channels. Can I get my pony with my goat? You want to take 2 pets into the dungeon? I could possibly let that. The only possible downside there was that it might affect the performance, but it shouldn't. If you've got a good machine, it'll be fine. The question was if the pet would hit barrels crates faster depending on the tier, or maybe have more functionality. Ah, yeah. So it does. So the current The pony that you saw that I was rocking before in the dungeons is a rare pony, and it destroys the barrels and items and that sort of thing at a certain rate. So it does about, I'll just reveal the numbers, it'll destroy 3 and then take a small breather because it's just catching its breath, because it's quite difficult for them to do. And then it'll carry on. But if I now switch to Void Goat, it also, when you get into a room, the first thing it will do is sort of pause and look around because it's just waiting for you. With a Transcendent Goat, for example, or Transcendent Pet, it will, as soon as you enter the room, it will start breaking things for you, and it won't take a break. So they're pretty good workers. Rarity can be total supply or tier. Is Raffarian Pony more rare since less supply, or Void Goat since it's higher tier? Yeah, it's difficult because I'll just run into this room and you can see as I run into here, he's still breaking things in the last room. He's now going to go straight for the items, whereas the pony in the other one would just pause for a little while. And the goat's going to keep going and go to the next one and go to the next one, and he won't stop until he's broken everything. Buying all the goats now. It's not just the goat, it can be any of the pets. They're all similar. Yeah, so Piranha, to say the rarity can be a total supply or tier. I can't necessarily match the rarity of an item to the tier because, like, I know it's more rare essentially, but if it's transcendent, it's not just talking about its total supply, it's talking about its functionality too. So when an item is created with 100 supply or 10 supply and its rarity is, say, rare, it's just, it's a pretty good item, but it's not amazing like a transcendent would be. So even though it's got that low supply, because we can melt items, someone could then say, oh, let's just melt everything, and everyone goes and melts all the conquests, and all of a sudden it's a transcendent item. Like, that doesn't make sense. And all it does is it just destroy the economy. What tier are you assigning to pets from other projects such as Cryptomat Dragons? Yeah, good question. I can't remember. I usually do it somewhere mid-range to low, so uncommon and higher. It'll just depend. You can see what tier they are if you jump back into the menu. I'll just have a quick look now. So we'll go and check. So where are we? The Cryptomat Dragons. They're mythical, so they're actually quite powerful. This one's uncommon, so I think some uncommon and some mythical. I need to double check those because I'm not sure. This might just be on my test server that they're set up like that. You'll have to double check them in the live game. Again, anything you see in this game right now is purely on test. Don't take it to mean it'll definitely be available in the game when you see it. If you see a quest that asks for an item, don't take it to mean that that item's going to be definitely needed until you actually see it in the game, until it's before your eyes. For example, the Stampede tokens here doesn't mean that the Stampede tokens are going to be needed for a quest. Alright, did the raffle finish? I think it did, because people can't enter anymore. Oh no, it's still going. Cool. Raffle's going on. Let me just check on how long. We've still got another 2 minutes for the raffle. Make sure you use !raffle to enter. We are giving away a Void Goat pet. And it looks like this over here. There he is, running around crazy behind me. This goat is a limited edition. There are 500 in supply. They were previously given just to Founders token holders. in an airdrop. So you'll be getting one of those. Lubacti, is this the highest tier? Of pet? Transcendent? Yes. Transcendent is the highest tier of item available in the game, be that for weapons or pets or outfits. So you can see here I've got Transcendent or an Epic. Fill the list. You can see Transcendence up the top here with some Mythicals. You might catch a few new items in there if you don't blink. Or if you screen cap. You can probably go back later and see, but I'll just close that out. Do I have an alliance with CryptoKitties? I don't, no. Do the pets pick up the items it finds? No, they don't. They, I mean, look how tiny they are. They can't carry anything. They did smash the items for you, so if you do see something that you like, you'll have to run over and pick it up. They won't travel into rooms that you're not in though, so they'll just help clear the room that you're in. Rain of Fire sounds cool. It does. Let's go and check it out. It's one of the new items that Rob's created. Where was it? There we go. Let's go and run the dungeon with it. What about the inventory? What about it? There's no, you haven't got an inventory in this screen yet. I don't know if I'll be having that. It's just mainly managed at your trunks. Currently, the 4 slots at the bottom is still the current plan for now. This one hasn't got the special arrow just yet, but we'll be getting it soon. Oh, what was that? That found something, did he? Oh no, someone's... I've got the same sound in the game now as someone following. Sorry. And Meta ERC 1155, thanks for the follow. And for everyone else I missed, Keys 7, Starquillo, Cypher. I think that's everyone. Yeah, the Rain of Fire looks pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit of Spitfire. It's just quite a different color. Got some more. Olio1, thanks for the follow. Void Goat going to work there, clearing the items while I do battle. Ow. I think I'll let him clear it all. Alright, Raffle should have finished by now. So if you missed out, that's fine. I will be doing one more after this. Alright, so let's pick a winner. I don't know if I should show this on the screen or not, I guess. It might look a bit weird. There we go. Alright, all the entries are in. We're going to pick a winner. Caster, you are the winner of Goat. I'm pretty sure you already have one. So that was very lucky of you. And just because we've got this already, I'm just going to do one more for a second Void Goat. Oh, you want to redraw? Alright. I will do another one. Dark X1LE. Just going to jot that down. Dark X1LE, I don't recognize you, so can you just post your... Do you have a Telegram name or a name that you use in Forgotten Artifacts? Can you please just post that in the chat right now so I can just verify you're there? Yeah, so just post your name or your Telegram name or something, some way that I can contact you so that I can send it to your account. Perfect, thank you. All right, I'll be in contact with you after the stream in order to send you the item. Caster, are you sure you don't want the item? Because I will draw another one now. If I remove you and I draw you again, it's obviously fate. All right. And we'll pick a second winner for another Void Goat. Thanks, Caster. Da Creatoro. Congratulations, you won a Void Goat. Can you please, in the chat, post either your Telegram name or the name you use within the Forgotten Artifacts? Yes, you, please post me your Telegram name in the chat. That way I can contact you after the stream. The Cradio, can you post your Telegram name or your in-game name in the chat, please? CZB said he would raffle off his Spitfire. Is that so, CZB? Thank you, Caster, for passing up on the Void Goat and allowing someone else to have a chance. All right, I'll just wait for, still waiting for the Crati. I can't pronounce your name. Decratoro? Decratoro? Hopefully I got that right. In the chat, don't say yes, just say, put your Telegram name or... Okay, perfect, thank you. I can find you with that. Thank you. All right. Good night, Crypto Oak. No worries. Next time I'll start a little bit earlier. And I'll do it on a Saturday for most of you. All right, we will do one more giveaway later, so you can all enter the raffle again. Dark Creator O. Thanks, Russian Occasion. Yeah, I think so. No worries. Good night, Squalito. I'm just gonna run to the engine. Is there anything else that you wanted to see? Anyone interested in seeing how something works, or some behind the scenes that interests you, that you haven't perhaps seen, or you'd like to know how it works? Just ask away in chat now, and I'll see what I can do. Oh, thanks for the follow, Langu, and Grundlesticks, and the Cryptic Crypto. Make sure you follow everyone who's watching. You'll be notified when I go live again next. It will be generally every 1 to 2 weeks if possible. It just depends on how busy I am with making the game stuff, but that's my aim for now. See, I just found a Cobalt storage trunk. It was sitting in one of the crates. How can bad camera angles mess the game up? Depending on, like, I guess you were talking about what I was referring to before, right? Let me do a good example of that. Let's move this out of the way. So for example, you see this house here is completely hollow. I don't remember if I'm using the cheap version of this or not. You can see through certain parts. So you can see through here to the other side of the house. So, you know, if you're able to wander around at this eye level here and you look around, and people might be like, oh, that looks silly. There's like a hole there. Doesn't look very good at all. Let's see if these items here, oops. I think these all have bottoms on them. No, they don't. You see underneath here, underneath this wall, there's no actual face. That's to save it from being rendered, because you'll never actually view it from underneath. The idea is to view it from up above. Some of these assets can obviously be used for the sideways cameras. The other thing that camera angles can ruin it for is, for example, I know that most of you will only be able to view around in this sort of area because the camera moves in that way. So the back side of this has quite a stretched texture, but I don't really need to worry about that. That would take extra time and effort to straighten up and fix. And the reason it's stretched is because the height between, or the distance between these vertexes here is too high, so it ends up stretching the texture. I can fix that. It just requires additional time, and because no one will be seeing that, there's no real reason to fix it up. The same with the camera angles. Over here, for example, if I allowed the camera to be up this high, all of a sudden you're asking, what is this? What's over here? There's nothing here. Whereas when it's nice and close in like this, you can't really see. It looks just like a giant wall of rock, and you can't go any higher. So if you're up this high and you look around, you know, you can see above it. But since you're only about this high, and you can only look up to about here, you can't even see the top of them. So it looks like it's really quite high. Mark Brain, can you change your account name? Yes, just message me on Telegram, and I will allow you to change it. Lefever, how does the Open Chest API call work? It's a secret. I can't give you too much information. I see what you did there, though. Captain, I always felt the witches had defense too high as their damage was high as well. Magic users normally have weaker defenses. Yeah, maybe. I guess it's because it sort of needed to counteract people rushing into them. Previously, they didn't have a secondary effect when I first released them, and so it was quite easy to overwhelm them by getting really close. And I possibly did take that a little bit far with a secondary attack. But that character is meant to be a little more challenging than, say, some of the frogs that are wandering around. Russian McAsian, any collabs in the works with our fellow Enjin games? Yes. I can't at this time say anything more than that, but yes. With some more of the founder, the original Enjin adopters. There are some things in the works, yes. I will reveal more about that in the future. Thanks, Kester. I'm glad you're liking the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's probably not a view that many of you get to see in playing games, you know, like other high-tier AAA games or anything, Call of Duty and that kind of thing. I can actually do, run the game here. And let's see. There's this path. So let's say I decide to just repaint this section. I'm just gonna change my brush a little bit. So this is how I've been painting the world in order to make it believable and paint like a path across here. And I just have a mouse. I don't use a brush. Some artists use a brush. I was never able to use them properly. I got used to using my mouse quite well, keeping it in straight lines or using it in a similar way to the pens that you can get. Sorry, I said brush, I meant pen. Oh, Meta ERC, your weapon steps. Okay, cool. No worries. Yeah, it's a bit difficult sometimes for me to keep track of everyone across the different social platforms, as some of you have different names. So glad to see you're on here. The other part of, I guess, doing this is not just painting on the terrain, but I can do things. I'm just going to undo some of that. I can also affect the height of the terrain. So, you know, I can raise and make mountains. That's very quick there. I can reduce how that's affected and just do a small amount. So I can kind of sculpt it here. Depending on your game and depending on how it works, there's all kinds of different settings for this. So it'll mean that this will look really smooth or really chunky depending on the settings that you've used. In here I've got it quite close, so you can kind of see it looks pretty smooth when I sculpt it. The other thing you can do is I've been placing objects like these. So these are all the decoration objects. So I can move them around and place them where I want to, and I can rotate them to look good. Grab this one and decide that I don't like it there anymore and move it inside, or whatever I happen to do. The fences, as I put them along, I generally move them along and realign them and rotate them, fix them up until I'm happy with where they are. And then you can see things like the grass that's here. I can also paint grass in various areas, and I could just, you know, paint it all over the stones, which obviously is not a good idea. It doesn't look realistic unless you're going for an overgrown path. Russian McAsian, just to answer your question about are there any fellow Spark games you're interested in working with? I am working with some at the moment. Because it's just myself, it does get time consuming and I have to really pick which projects I can work with. And the ones that allow me to do it quite easily, I will generally go with. At the moment, because I'm so busy with quests, it is kind of difficult to work with everyone on that, but going forward I should be able to do that a little bit easier once quests are out and ticking. In saying that, I'll probably be creating the next thing, which is the first event, the first encounter. Thanks, my cryptic crypto. I'm glad you support the game. I'm glad everyone's liking what they're seeing here with the behind the scenes look too. Some of this stuff, yep. Some of this stuff I can move out the way. You can see I can put it in a wall if I wanted to. Like, there's no real reason why I have to put it here other than it looks ridiculous if it's halfway through a wall. So, you know, you've got to be careful with your placements, and like, individually placing some of these items and that sort of thing can really change the look of something. You know, you can make it look completely silly if you're just randomly putting objects like this in the way and then the player has to move around them. So you do need to sometimes think about how you're designing, how you're leveling out. You know, these fence palings and posts and things like that, I could have put them in the way like this so they're closed. If I wanted to, I could allow you to, it requires a bit of coding, but I can make them so you can open them, so you have to click on them to open them to go in before, but it's a bit restrictive. Thanks, Matinga. Good to see you on here too. I'll catch you on Telegram. Ayaz61, can you implement the Monocero Horth from DApp's items? I don't know what that is. I'd have to investigate. Generally, I like to integrate things that have a use in other games rather than just being the only one to integrate them, or if it's just a token that doesn't really inspire anything within the game. If it's just a picture of a symbol or something, it's kind of difficult to find inspiration for, so I like to find real objects. Obviously, an easy one there is swords and axes and that sort of thing, but potions and that kind of stuff. It just depends on how much time I have, because I am the only one working on this in development. And just to call out Rob again, who's doing an amazing job with the lore. And you'll be able to see a ton of his work coming up in the next patch with all the new items and descriptions and things that he's got coming. And we've got some awesome plans coming for you. Shadow, can you make a first-person shooter angle? As I was explaining before, it sort of gets a bit difficult with some of the views because you'll see holes in things that shouldn't be there. Making a third person and then hiding all the undersides of the buildings, like so you can see up here, there's like the underside is not really developed because it's only supposed to be viewed from above, is done for performance reasons. And you know, if I want to do mobile, for example, I really need to fix the view, because it means I can control what you're looking at. It means I can ensure that you don't see something at an incorrect angle, like underneath these, where there's no texture, because you'll never really be able to see underneath them. Thanks for this follows, Zidneva. Kester asks, can you add day-night mode and maybe weather change? Yes, that's on the cards. So I do have a night mode that I was working on that won't come for this patch, but may be available in the future. That's just a quick preview in the editor scene, so it's not fully perfect or anything. That's just to give you a preview. Langu, thank you. Hey, yes, I will post in Telegram chat after stream. Thanks. Josh MIT. Joshy MIT. Wait, is that a massive pause menu up there? Oh, okay. So yes, it is. It's the main menu actually. The drawing on the game view looks like this at the moment. It has to render somewhere in the world. The way cameras work is I've got one camera which is in the game, which is down here, and it's looking down this way somewhere, so you can see that's the game camera. The UI, the user interface, there's another camera which looks at that, which you probably can't see here. Where is it? It's on here somewhere. It's the main camera, and the UI is on this one. It's actually down here. The way the UI rendering works is it just renders objects that are tagged specifically. You can see it up here as for UI. So if I was to change that to a different layer, a different camera can potentially render it. It's really basic, but basically you can say, I want this object to be rendered only when this camera looks at it. That's a really simple way of putting it. So that's why you see the giant menu floating in the background. If I was to hit play and it hides it, you don't see that in there anymore, but you can see the other items that sort of display and then fade away that were in the game view. If I move away from that one, you can see now it looks clear and you can just see my photo. Thanks for the follow, Maple Snow. Barnacles asks, will you ever do any more competitions where the winners get to make their own transcendence? Yes, I was thinking of something like that. I have got a few plans coming up. I know I've been pretty busy with getting all the content in, getting this town up and running, getting the quests ready. Once all of that's finished and everything's running smoothly, I do want to have a few other competitions and events, things like naming items. Just to recap for any who have joined or only see it now, anyone holding a founder's token, I will announce the date when this happens, will get their name inscribed forever on the tablet in the town square. So as long as you're holding it at the time when I make the recording, it will be there. If you then move it afterwards, that's fine. You will still have your name engraved there. I do suggest if you are a founder and you have got that token that you hang on to it for now. If you've got multiple, you can obviously do whatever you like with them. There are more benefits coming soon. So be sure to stay tuned on that. Thanks, CRBU. Dark X, lights and windows. Yeah, I'd have to turn the lights on the lamps and things. So I've got that ready here. That's for night mode. Obviously you don't see that during the day. The Fever, have you been using Enjin API to interact with most quests, or are you writing raw ETH transactions yourself? I've been using the Enjin API. So the Enjin API allows me to take a lot of the work out of all of the blockchain integration. So I could theoretically do it myself if I was to interact directly with the Ethereum network. As you can see, I already do a lot of the other game stuff, so I'd prefer someone else to handle that. So Enjin's doing that, and I interact with the Enjin API. You'll need the Enjin wallet in order to play Forgotten Artifacts, and probably more so now going into the future for when quests are available, because you will only be able to complete quests by sending items from your Enjin wallet to the game, and the game obviously sends them back to you. If you're liking what you're seeing, you want to join us on any of the social channels. Our most active community is on Telegram. The links are on the website on forgottenartifacts.io. The link is in the chat. If you want to join Telegram, the links or any of the social media channels are at the bottom of that page. Telegram is our most active channel, where you'll find most of us in. We also have Discord, where a number of you are also in, and you can also follow on Twitter and Facebook in order to keep up to date with any announcements that I make. I generally have a lot of the behind the scenes info and upcoming info in the social channels like Telegram, since that's where everyone else or most people are active. Thanks, Ayaz. Good night. Billysaurus, welcome. You missed one of the giveaways. You might have an opportunity for a second one. We gave away 2 Void Goats, where Dark X1 LE was the first winner, and Decreator O was the second winner. What did I say about the Void Goat? There was a number of things. So basically the pets in the game can now break items for you, break crates and various things to help you. The higher the rarity of the pet, the more helpful they'll be. So the Transcendent Void Goat is obviously the most helpful, along with any other Transcendent pets. Yeah, it's because it has more of a use now. It's not just a aesthetic item. It will give you a hand through the dungeon. I'll jump through them again to show you what it does shortly. If you haven't followed already, make sure you hit that follow button in the top right hand corner. You will be notified whenever I go live streaming, when I do giveaways, and you'll be able to join in. If I have missed your message in the chat, please post it again. I'm not meaning to miss them. It's just sometimes difficult to keep track of everything, playing the game while looking at what's going on in chat and such. All right, I'm going to start another giveaway, and then we'll start to wrap up after that, so I can get back to working on the quest changes and get that into your hands. All right, so do another 10-minute giveaway. The timer has now started, so use !Raffle. SC Track Boy, you'll probably have to do yours again because it didn't make it. Thanks everyone for spending your evenings or your mornings or your afternoons here, just checking out what's going on with Forgotten Artifacts. There's definitely a lot of changes coming. I've explained some. If you missed some of the earliest explanations, I'll leave that for now. You can always go back and watch the stream. It's being recorded right now. And once it's over, you can go back and look at it again. There's a bit of information in there about how things in the dungeons are changing, about the loot drops, how chests work, and pets and various other things too. Just running a raffle at the moment. If you're just joining in again, you can type !Raffle into the chat and you'll be in the running. I'm going to give away one more Void Goat, and for one lucky viewer can also win a Flamin Jack Outfit, of which I have one spare. Thanks, Kester. Makes me happy that you think that. There is one more thing I do want to show you guys as a super quick preview, so that you can get excited about it coming up. It won't be available in the next patch because I think I've run out of time. but it will be in the one there afterwards, the next major one, that is. But I'll show you that after I jump out of this dungeon, once the raffle gets close. So in about 8 minutes. And I don't know why, but I've taken in a common bow. So wish me luck. Hey, 9 Streams, welcome. It's quite a bit of work playing with the common. Let's throw down some of the new common items that are usable. Where is it? Just gonna find them here. All right, so this is a bit of a preview. Some of you saw this before. For those that missed it or have just joined, the first usable common item is this item right here. I'll just zoom in on it, catch a bit of a glimpse of it. It's an explosive ball. Light the fuse and toss it in the general direction of an enemy or stub an impassable area. Keep your distance or your adventuring days will be over. It's not too powerful at the moment in this current build. I'll be tweaking a little bit before final. It does allow you to damage both monsters as well as crates. To use it, it's a little difficult at the moment. I will be changing that in the future. You just have to aim your character in the general direction of where you want it to go, similar to some of the existing items, and then either click on it or press the number to throw. So you see I throw it out there and just destroy that item there. Obviously, if my aim was a little bit better, I would have hit that guy. So I'm just going to have another go. In saying that, what I plan to do is allow you to equip it similar to a weapon. So it's like a temporary equip. And then you will simply just be able to move your mouse to where you want to shoot it to, and then you can just fire it, similar to a bow. I'm just going to run in here and toss it. He'll run into it. There you go, he took some damage. Like I said, the bomb doesn't do a huge amount of damage at the moment. It wasn't supposed to be too overpowered. It does help. It does help if I don't throw it in the wrong direction. It does help me clear areas like this where I can just toss the bomb in and it clears a bunch of the items for me all at once. Do boxes and barrels drop health, Caster? Yes, there's a chance for them to drop health items similar to the old, I call it old, similar to the chests do in the current game. So it's still kind of low, still similar. It actually should be exactly the same as in the current game. The major thing that's changed is that every time you open a chest, you'll get a guaranteed blockchain item. In this case, I'm getting Stampede tokens. You won't be getting those. This is just a test. I just have a lot of those items on my test server. Could be some kind of quest or achievement for common items. Not at the moment. I probably will do something like that in the future. I wanted to make sure that the Enjin backed items were valuable enough and had a good use first before I went ahead and did any of the common stuff. Because the common stuff is unlimited, someone could just farm it. I haven't looked at that aspect of it yet. But I'll see what I can do about that in the future. You're gonna blow yourself up, Dark XR. I think I pronounced your name right then. That's how it's supposed to be said, right? Does it damage you? It should do. Just double check that. Because, you know, that's what it said in the description, so really it should. I'm just going to go into this room and throw some more in. And then, whoops, kick that off the side. No, it doesn't. I'll have to fix that. It's supposed to damage you. Oh, it's because it's your own weapon. So it doesn't damage you. I don't know, what do you think? Should it damage you? Should it not damage you? Put it in the chat. Say, damage you or not damage you. Let's see a bit of a vote. Pretty sure I can do a poll in here, actually. Where's the poll? Actually, you know what? Let's try a poll. Should the bomb damage you? Yes or no? Option yes, wait, no. Oh, I did that wrong. Hang on. And then I can do no. No. Alright, let's see if that works. I haven't done one of these before. You can vote with your exclamation mark yes or exclamation mark no if should the bomb damage you. Of course, if it doesn't, I'm going to have to change the description because that doesn't make sense. CZB, if monsters can't damage themselves, why should you? Because they're magical. Oh, it's dead heat at the moment. Why is it saying only 4 votes yes, 4 votes no? 8 votes total. It looks like there's more than that. Oh, it's updating slowly. 9 votes. Oh, I think some of you voted before the vote was active. Maybe that's what happened. Oh, you gotta do exclamation mark vote space yes or no. Sorry, that was my bad. First time I've used the voting feature. There we go. Alright, so yes is ahead now. Exclamation mark vote space no or yes. Still quite moving around a bit. We're 70% on yes at the moment. It's good to know. It might be a little bit frustrating to use at the moment because you have to face in the direction that you're firing it. And then kind of time where it's going to go, you know, so you might have to run towards it, hit your button and then run away. I will change that in the future though, but that shouldn't affect whether it damages you, I guess. It just might make it a little more tricky to use. So it gives you a little bit of a skill boost there. If you can master it, it means you're quite skillful. Vote to be for caster. I forgot to add that option. If it does damage, then let the Bomberman deal damage to enemies too. Yeah, the problem with that is it's difficult to balance because then he'll just destroy all these enemies. While it logically makes sense, sometimes in games you have to make decisions based on how easy it is to set that up, because I'd have to make that enemy hyper aware of where his buddies are so he doesn't damage them, and make sure he lobs it over, and that's at the moment a considerable amount of work just for me to get working. If there was someone dedicated to that, no worries. Alright, looks like the raffle is over. The poll results, which I'm going to give another 30 seconds to, are currently at 43 votes. We've got 62% with yes, the bomb should damage you, and 16% with no, it should not damage you. And 15 seconds left for the poll. I think it's pretty much going to be yes, it should damage you, and I need to fix that bug. Alright. Poll is done. And so is the raffle. Alright, so we're going to do a raffle draw. We're going to do one for a Void Goat and one for the Flamin Jack Outfit, which I have one left in order to give out. So I'm just going to bring the raffle onto the screen so you can see it being drawn. I rounded up for the math. Sorry, Billy Soros. I probably shouldn't round up on those, or is it? the polls. There you go, you can see the poll results. 62.79 and 37.21 now was the vote for yes. There you go, you can see it. I really wish this had a better way to be able to view the results on the screen. I have to investigate that more because it's a bit silly just bringing this view onto it so you can see it. All right, let's pick the winner for the final Void Goat. Actually, let's just amp this up a little bit and get a bit of a drum roll going for this Void Goat. And the winner is Crypto Loving. Crypto Loving, can you please post in the chat either your Telegram name or your in-game name so that I can locate you? I'll give you a couple of moments just to do that for me, because if I can't contact you, I can't give you your item. Yep, there you are, perfect. Congratulations, well done, Crypto Loving. If you want to just post your name, is it Crypto Loving in the game as well, or in Telegram? Just post it in chat so I can see what it is. Crypto Loving, post in the chat either your Telegram name. Perfect. I'm not sure how delayed this stuff is. If I'm like asking you've already posted, I'm sorry. I'm just going by what I can see. It should be on almost real time. All right, so let's go and do another raffle draw. This time it's going to be for the Flamin Jack. So start crossing your fingers, preparing, and get the drum roll going. And Key 77, congratulations. You have won the Flamin Jack outfit for Forgotten Artifacts. Can you please do the same, Key 7? Either put your Telegram name or your in-game name, and I'll be in contact. Congratulations to our winners, to Crypto Loving and to Key 7. You're welcome, Steam at Goldminer. PJD, do you have a name starting with K to win? Maybe, because the first one was Caster, right? Yeah, that's the funny thing. People start to look for patterns in random stuff and then you'll drive yourselves crazy. His username is Key7. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Hypertrophy. Awesome. I'll get those prizes out to you once I've completed this. In the meantime, if you'd like to create a Forgotten Artifacts account, that would be great because it's easier for me to send you the item through your Forgotten Artifacts account than it is through just trying to get your ETH address, because it's all set up and combined in there. So create the account if you haven't already, link your Enjin wallet, and then you'll already be able to use the item in the game as soon as I give it to you. You're welcome, Barnacles. Consolation prizes. This is actually the second round, so these were kind of the consolation prizes. In saying that, I will come up with a couple of interesting ways for future themes, for future streams, on how I can actually reward some of you viewers just for participating and hanging around. And I'll let you know more about that in the future. In the meantime, I'm going to start ending this. I'll end the stream in about 5 minutes. I'm going to get back and continue working on this patch. I won't be releasing it when the stream ends. I've still got a bit of work to do. I did say that I was going to give you a quick sneak preview of something that's coming up that won't be available in the next patch, but it will be available soon. So let's have a quick look. Let me get some hypes in the channel. Some hype or anything like that. I want to see that you're all getting interested in what this special new event thing is. Do some emotes, hype emotes. I think there's a hype. I don't know if it is exclamation mark or what. Thanks, Kester. Good night. Awesome, that's looking good. All right, let's have a quick reveal of something that will be coming up, not for this current patch, but very soon in the future. Something that will be quite special and unique and is part of the quest system being in place for you to be able to do it. If you watch the game screen now, you should see something materialize. Something that looks quite mysterious. Does anyone know what it looks like? Caster with a portal. Ooh. Sounds like it, doesn't it? Looks like a portal. Oh, look, it's already revealed the name. Oh, get it out of sight. Look at that amazing, beautiful portal. Town portal. Yeah, not exactly. Close. So this is kind of a little bit of a preview on this stream. I wasn't going to do this, so I'm going to fly with this for now. It's not multiplayer. Yeah, it's not multiplayer. Yes, uncoordinated ninja. He's onto something. Ogandor, yes. Giznilly saw something about that. So what this is one of the first in-game events. Barnacles, yes, right on the money. One of the first in-game events which will land you a mythical item by completing it. You will have to obtain some sort of portal open stone in order to get this portal to appear, and with it in your wallet, it will appear here in town. As you can see on the name there, it's Ogandor Encounter. That will give a little bit away about what it is. If you're familiar with any of the lore, you can probably already figure out what that might be. I'm going to be really wild and maybe go into this. What do you reckon? I didn't plan on this, but you all seem pretty excited. Gonna jump in? Alright, let's jump in. See where we're gonna go. What is this? Looks like we're at the start of something. Oh look, there's a little bomb. That's what we were looking for while we were playing. We didn't find one. Alright, so this is still under heavy construction. I'm not going to venture too far in because it's not finished yet. That's all I'll show you for now. And we're going to quit out. So that's something to come, not in the next patch, but we're building up to that. It will be coming very soon. I can't show you the thing, SK. It's not finished. That's as far as it's been done for now. But it gives you a taste of things to expect or to come. Something that you can look forward to. So definitely it's much more than just simply running the dungeons looking for random loot in chests. You'll have to go into the dungeons to find loot in crates and search for it around, get some chests out, or open some chests to find other loot, complete quests, and try and figure out how to claim those items. Existentially portal stone, yes. In this case, it's not a town portal like in some other similar games where you port back to town or anything. In this way, it's to start an encounter, or in this case, to start this particular encounter. for some of you that caught the name that was used of the portal, I'm sure you can do some research and hypothesize about what it might be. But I think you'll need an MFT. No, not for that one. You need to find items through a quest. I'm going to leave it at that and not say too much more about it because I'd like you to have some fun and try and figure it out. It's not a puzzle as such, it's more just a sequence that you kind of have to follow. Just to recap quickly, the founders token, just in case you've just joined us or you didn't hear before, the founders token, if you hold it in your wallet, I will announce when the date is. If you hold it in your wallet and have your account linked to it, your Forgotten Artifacts account, the name that you use in the game will be inscribed forever on the tablet that's here on the main statue in the middle of the town, and that will be available for everyone to see going forward. I'll announce more details about that and probably write an article about it so you know what to happen or know what to do before it happens. Make sure you hit that follow button, thanks CCB, to keep updated with any new streams. I'll probably be doing them about once every 1 to 2 weeks. I will do them 1 day earlier, so I'll be streaming on Sunday in Australia time, probably around 6 AM, so it'll be starting 2 hours earlier than this one did on 1 day earlier. But I'll announce that more in the various social channels. Most active on Telegram, so join us there if you haven't already. There's also a Discord channel. There's not quite as much activity there, so if you join and it's a little bit lonely, feel free to join us on Telegram. Also, we have Twitter that you can join. You can just get the link on the website. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of ForgottenArtifacts.io, you will find the links there. All right, I think that's it from me. I'm going to call this an end. Thanks, everyone. Congratulations again to the winners, Dark Exile, De Creatoro, Crypto Loving, and to Keys77 for your winnings. I'll be sending those out shortly. Make sure you've got a Forgotten Artifacts account because I can send them to you and locate you much easier that way, just by using your names. And thanks again, and I think it's good night, good afternoon, and good morning to some of you. I'll see you again next time. Cheers.